Hello, and thank you for joining us. President Trump took a victory lap at the White House press briefing today to mark 1 year back in office.
We took a country that was dead, and it's the hottest country in the world right now, and that's after 1 year. So let's go.
The nearly 2-hour-long news conference came as the president prepared to fly to Davos, Switzerland tonight for the World Economic Forum. The annual summit is expected to be overshadowed by President Trump's continued demands that the U.S. take over the semi-autonomous island of Greenland. It's an ambition that is widely unpopular among Americans and his NATO allies, something President Trump was pushed on by reporters today.
I think that we will work something out where NATO is going to be very happy and where we're going to be very happy. But we need it for security purposes. We need it for national security and even world security. It's very important.
CBS News Chief White House correspondent Nancy Cordes joins me now. Nancy, what is the president's goal with Greenland while meeting with allies in Davos? Will he be trying to win them over with his plan?
Well, he says that he has meetings regarding Greenland scheduled, and there's no question that he is going to be asked about it, even potentially confronted about it by European leaders at Davos. They've already been talking about it today as this meeting gets underway. Without him, we saw the European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen say that they are going to reiterate that this is sovereign territory, part of Denmark. You had the French President Emmanuel Macron basically talk about bullies, and that was a clear shot at the United States. So there's no question that there is concern that has not been put to rest by the president's comments today, in which he said that he thinks that NATO is actually going to be happy about the plan he has for the U.S. acquiring Greenland.
The president also discussed his board of peace in Gaza. I want to play some of what he said.
We just created the Board of Peace, which I think is going to be amazing. I wish the United Nations could do more. I wish we didn't need a Board of Peace, but the United Nations, and you know, with all the wars I settled, the United Nations never helped me on one war.
What more do we know about his plan?
Well, he plans on Thursday to hold a signing ceremony for his new Gaza Board of Peace. But right now, there are only a handful of countries that have publicly announced that they plan to sign on and become members of that Board of Peace. Notably absent so far, most European countries who care very much about the rebuilding effort in Gaza, but still have a lot of questions about how exactly this Board of Peace would work, how much it would cost for them to join, what the leadership structure is, and how does the president envision it working going forward. You heard him talk today about the UN and lament the fact that he doesn't feel that the UN has been effective in Gaza. And so a question that a lot of European leaders have been asking is, does the president envision this Board of Peace dealing down the road, not just with issues in Gaza, but more broadly, does he see it as some kind of rival or replacement to the United Nations? That's something that they would potentially be pretty uncomfortable with, especially given the fact that the way that the charter has been written by the United States, President Trump would be the chairman of the Board of Peace, and it appears that that chairmanship would be open-ended, so he could remain in charge even after he leaves office.
Nancy Cordes, thank you.
You're welcome.
For more on how world leaders are reacting to President Trump's actions on Greenland and his Board of Peace, here's senior White House and political correspondent Ed O'Keefe from Davos, Switzerland.
President Trump travels tonight here to Switzerland to attend the World Economic Forum, where he's expected to speak Wednesday broadly about the economy and his 2026 focus on affordability. But many of the attendees here want to hear what he has to say about Greenland. He teased again on Tuesday the idea that the United States might one day try to take over the Danish-controlled island. That has led European leaders in recent days to suggest retaliatory tariffs of up to $100 billion on the United States. And there's been much more public talk among European leaders, even Canada's Prime Minister, about cleaving away from the United States and forming new alliances if President Trump keeps this up. On Thursday, he's also expected to focus on his Gaza Board of Peace, the second phase of that big peace plan for the Gaza Strip. Still unclear exactly how many other countries may be joining the United States in trying to run an organization that's designed to rebuild that region that, of course, has suffered so much in recent years from war and is in desperate need of reconstruction. There has been talk of some member nations being asked to contribute up to $1 billion. There are reports, however, some may end up paying far less than that. But several big European powers have said they're not interested in being part of something that the president may try to set up to one day rival the United Nations. He is expected to meet on Wednesday and Thursday with a handful of these leaders who are trying to convince him to back off Greenland. And we'll see if he makes clear that perhaps at least U.S. troops aren't necessarily in the works, but that he wants to find some kind of new agreement with NATO and the European Union to run what he sees as a key part of U.S. security in the Western Hemisphere. Back to you.
Ed O'Keefe, thank you. Today marked the worst day for the stock market in months as President Trump's threats to take over Greenland and tariff countries that oppose his plan rattled investors. The S&P 500 and NASDAQ both fell more than 2% amid renewed fears of a trade war. CBS News senior business and technology correspondent Ling has the details.
It was a rough day for U.S. markets. All three major averages ended deeply in the red. The Dow lost 1.8%. The broader S&P 500 sank more than 2%, and the NASDAQ did worst of all, dropping 2.4%. Overall, this was the worst day since October, and that broader S&P 500 wiped out $1.2 trillion in value just today alone. In Davos, where the president is headed to meet with world economic leaders and CEOs there are urging caution, saying that this has been a dizzying start to the year and that it has been very challenging as well. The president's position on Greenland and the doubling down on potential tariffs and threats of a new trade war certainly sent European markets down as well. Looking ahead, we will get new inflation data. PCE comes out on Thursday, and of course another Federal Reserve meeting later this year. But today, the first trading day since President Trump ignited those Greenland threats and that tariff threat for EU countries and the UK, certainly leaving investors worried. There was a flight to safety, to silver and gold hitting new highs. Treasury yields also spiking, showing that there is a worry about U.S. equities, and investors today didn't like it. Back to you.
Ling, thank you.